Hello, this is Alejandro Bratti from Believe in Yourself, Believe in Your Business, and welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Singo TV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Singo TV app on the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free. Singo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire and Fire TV sticks, Roku and Roku sticks also on all smart TVs 216 and forward. So welcome to the show. We have the amazing Shanae and the amazing CJ here with us. What we want to do here today is start to talk about this believe in yourself, believe in your business. Last week I was I having that interview where I was explaining a little bit of my story, and what we want to do today is to bring you my two partners that we are creating something amazing. Really, we are helping business owners to grow to the next level, and everything starts with our mind and how that changes our game in our life and how that can change your game in your life. So that's really what we are here, why we are creating this show, and we are really excited to be here. So what I want to start today is with Shanae. We are going to be talking a little bit about yourself. So if you have some things that you can share with us, that will be amazing. The thing that I want to be asking is exactly who was Shanae before you started to believe in yourself? Who was that person? What was the things that started to happen? Then you started to believe in yourself, and I don't know if it was only a moment or several moments. How was it? Do you know? Do you remember that part?
Yes, I do. I remember it very well. Hi, guys. I am Shanae, and I am from Pretoria, South Africa. And I have a digital marketing agency here, and we specialize in lead generation. So, Alejandro, it went like this. It wasn't always like, yes, I believe now. And then the next moment is like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? The next moment is like, I have this. So it has been a wild ride for sure. But this wild ride started when I was 10. So when I was 10, I was walking in the mall, holding my mom's hand, checking out all the beautiful shops. And then I just heard this voice telling me that you are going to be a designer and you are going to be a business owner. And as I'm telling you this, I get butterflies in my stomach, and I knew instantly that that was my God-given purpose on earth. And as a little girl, you think, oh man, I'm going to be this fashion designer. I'm going to be famous in Milan. And everything's just going to be rainbows and butterflies and unicorns.
And that was when you had 10 years old.
Yeah, it happened when I was 10, very young. Yeah.
That's amazing because really there is a lot of people that they are in their 40s and they don't know yet. So
It is very unusual, yes. But so I started my journey. I went through high school and then I took a year off, going through some metamorphosis. And then I went and studied graphic design. I've always been a creative and a creator, so I always like creating little things or opportunities, designing new things and designing my life, what it should look like. And I landed my first job at a jewelry design company here in South Africa. And I did graphic design for them for just under like 3 years. And this one evening, I had a dream. It was on the 29th of October. I dreamt that God told me that you need to quit your job on the 30th of October. And the next morning, when I woke up, it was the 30th of October. And I was like, wow. I took the leap of faith and I quit my job. Here I am, 8 years later, still rocking it. And sometimes you do feel like you got this, and that some days you just feel so low and you feel like you want to give up because things are hectic, things are difficult, and it's just a little too much. But I mean, that's an up and down of life. I mean, it's not necessarily the ups and downs of business. So, in a nutshell, that is my story. But I can tell you now, in 2014, when I had to resign from my job, I was really looking for change. I was looking to change other people's lives, have an impact in their lives. And I was also looking for a change for myself. I had to grow as a person and I needed to make success for myself. And during that whole journey, I really felt the need to change people's lives, and bring fulfillment to others and not only to myself. And I learned some skills where I was working and I transferred those skills into my business, which was really amazing. And yeah, it was just amazing to be reminded of my purpose in such a, I'm not going to say a rude awakening, but it was a wide eyed awakening. So before I started to believe in myself and in my business, I got a little lost along the way. I felt lost. I didn't feel like I was making an impact. I didn't feel like my life mattered. And when I got this message, I was on fire again. And it was just amazing for me to get in the groove again, to know that I have a purpose on earth and just to live my dream. So when I resigned and I was doing my own business, yeah, I I realized that I needed clients fast, and I started to learn how to sell. I sold like Google Map placements to people just to get into the game, to start selling, and then upsell them to design a logo or a website or a business card. All the graphic design stuff that you need as an entry level entrepreneur. And I started selling marketing to people,
Okay,
marketing
but
them.
quick question before you go a little bit deeper there, because part of what I have learned a lot is when you start to have this business, exactly, it's going to happen what you are saying, like you are like ups and downs. So what was the belief that you created in yourself since you started to think about, okay, I'm going to be a designer at 10 years old and I am going to be a business owner? So how that started to develop in yourself, like something that started to happen between that moment, that 10 years, and when you started to have that business, to create this belief in yourself? Because at the end, what I have really known is like you have to create a belief system that is going to help you in this journey that you are explaining now. So I want to down a little bit with you and go like, okay, a little bit earlier and start to see how you started to create that belief system in yourself, like, okay, I am going to do it, I am going to be amazing. How was that process?
All right. So what I did was when I quit my job, I made myself a little booklet and I wrote down. And because I'm a visual person, I actually found pictures of what I wanted to achieve in life,
Mm,
what I wanted to have, what I wanted to do, the impact that I wanted to make. And I wrote everything down and I didn't put it up on my wall, but I carried it with me.
mm,
And I set goals for myself on when I would like to accomplish what. And as the years went on, I still go back to that book of mine because there's still things that I haven't accomplished. And when I look back, I believe even more in what I can do for myself and what I can do as an impact as an entrepreneur. So I say that that is a very big integral part of my belief system.
mm,
Because I have set goals for myself, I can work back. Okay, what do I need to do to make this happen? And I would break it up into smaller um, parts that is achievable. Like, let's say I want to do that this year. What do I need to do every month, every week, every day in order to make that happen?
Mm,
And you have to believe that you can do this.
mm,
Because if you are down in the dumps every day and beating yourself up from, I am not good enough, I will never be able to reach my purpose, I am not an entrepreneur. Well, on bad days of being an entrepreneur, because it's so lonely, those thoughts creep up. And I just decided that if a bad thought enters my mind, it's like two steel doors that slaps into my face, and I never let it enter into my brain. I would always fill it with positive thoughts and growing thoughts. Does that answer your question?
yes, yes, because that's exactly what at the end it's like we are talking about. Okay, belief system is something that maybe you can see, but what I want to show to people here is it's something that you can create, and you have to be like imagine writing creating visuals. It really depends on that person. And one thing that we have been discussing a lot in the last week or 2 weeks together, it's about writing down those things. Then you start to see exactly the possibilities and all the things that you can create. So I agree that's one thing that started to create in you. And at the same time, if you were doing that before you leave your job, that's why you started to create this, like, okay, I know that this goal is too big, but at the same time I know that if I divide the goal in several parts, that is going to be achievable and I can achieve it and I am going to be amazing, and all the questions. So, and what happens really? Because do you remember a time that you really like started to believe the negative thoughts, that you were like, okay, started to create these momentums, this thing like, okay, this is against my beliefs, but nothing is working. Do you have some time like that? That
Yes,
kind
I do get that sometimes. There was a time in my business where I served the wrong clients, and it took me away from the end goal. And during that time, sometimes people are not appreciative. Um, and they don't even say thank you. I know that you deliver a service and you do get paid for it, but if somebody tells you, all these negative things like this is useless, and you know negative things that they planted seeds into your mind. And I just decided to step away from that client. And when I audited my thoughts, my business, where I was at, I realized that I had wasted easily 4 years.
mm,
And I wasted those 4 years on the wrong clients, the wrong projects, and it kept me away from what I needed to achieve for myself and for my purpose. So, yes, for me, it was more about having the wrong people in my life. Um, but now I do value the coming together of like-minded entrepreneurs, because not only do they keep you accountable and on path, we help each other. So it's easier to not fall back into that negative thinking pattern, and it's much easier to share with other people, hear what struggles they are going through. You can help them along the way because you've been through that. And I mean, that is so important in your belief system, is the coming together of the community of like-minded entrepreneurs. And yeah, that for me, that is really special, for me to grow with other entrepreneurs and just keep on cheering each other on, because if we don't have entrepreneurs in this world, I believe everything will fall flat. Our economy our morals and values, everything.
Awesome, Shanae. Let's give you a pause here because we have two interviews here at the same time. So I would like to start with CJ now, and when then we can go back because there is something that we are creating together, and I know that that's another thing that is changing the game again. So CJ, tell us from your side. You are coming from Toronto. That's amazing. I know that how was that moment that you can think about and that you can share here with us, or who was CJ before you started to believe in myself in yourself and saying, okay, I am going to be amazing and I am going to be creating this for these customers and all the things. But how was that previous CJ?
Honestly, Alejandro, I think for me, it's been a restoration journey, and I can resonate a lot, Shanae, with what you were sharing. For myself, believing in me is less about believing in myself. Truly, it's my faith. It's that I believe in a creator that created me, and finding and connecting with my purpose and what that design is. To believe in that design and to believe that the intrinsic values that have been placed in me. And finding out what some of those things are through what I believe is the map book to this life is the Bible or the scriptures, and finding out that when these things align with that and when they align with who he is and who he's created me to be, that's where I find the fulfillment, and that's where my belief is in. It's less about believing in myself, but believing in how I've been created to fulfill his purpose and therefore fulfill my purpose and help others fulfill their purpose. So it started for me, this journey started very young age as well. 13 years old, came to faith. I heard the gospel message and I responded to it. And then along the journey, some of the things, little things along the way, like going to home shows and collecting business cards while people are collecting stickers and baseball cards and some of these things, and realizing I kind of like this kind of thing, this networking as a kid. I like talking to people. So there's these little discovery points along the journey. So I was born and raised in the Ottawa Valley, actually, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. And then through my life, I went through a number of things, but late teens, 19, I found myself hitchhiking across Canada and out to British Columbia on the West Coast, where I repeated some of this process as I began looking for work. And to look for work, I had to fill out these sheets, and essentially they're like sales sheets or lead forms. I guess we would call them a list today. Is just connecting with people and looking and finding for work, and then eventually landing myself in a sales position where someone else believed in me, finding a mentor, a boss who was a mentor to me. And he said, CJ, you don't know this yet, but you're really good at sales. And having someone speak into my life in that way. And during this same period, I had a friend who showed me life mapping or vision boarding or having a dream beyond myself. And I hadn't seen anything like this before. And so he said, right in this category, what is it you want? Right in this other category, how do you view your faith? How do you view your work? How do you view relationships? All these kind of things. And that opened my mind and lit me up in a completely new way. Now, it was just shortly after that that I found myself sitting in a church, a pretty large church capacity, about, I guess, 3, 4, 5,000. I know that's a bit of a gap, but I'm not really sure. It was a pretty large church, though. And it was after service, I was sitting by myself and I was just thinking about kind of what was going on in my life. And I heard this voice and it said, I'm calling you to business. Now, at the time, understand, as much as I like these sales things, I'm a musician at heart. You see my drums in the background. I have a guitar. I'm working on some songs that I'm going to release in a couple months. And I love this stuff. So this is an aspect of my purpose as well, beside business. But I'm thinking music, and reaching out to people, helping youth, this kind of thing. And I hear this voice say, I'm calling you to business. My first thought is like, who is that? And second of all is, you got the wrong one, right? That's not me. That's not me at all. Fast forward a couple of years, I grew in my sales career. Had some opportunities, got to do inside, outside sales, and then returned back to Ontario, to Toronto here, worked for a large industrial tool manufacturer and I did okay, and sold tools here. And then I went back to BC to visit the same church, and a friend of mine was getting married. And I found myself sitting after another service, and I heard the same voice saying the same thing to me. I'd say about 2 years following that, as I'm calling you to business. And so I realized, okay, I'm already in business, I'm already in sales, but I'm really not an entrepreneur. So I began to explore some of what that is like. And Shanae, just like you said, like having a vision board. I started to get into Anthony Robbins and self-development and growth and this kind of thing, and trying to find and navigate how does self-development grow with faith development, and how does that work with personal and business, and just navigating really not it being about me and about my growth and just believing in myself, but how am I believing in a greater kingdom purpose, and how am I fulfilling a greater commission, something beyond myself that I'm called to. So some of the exploration was navigating these two paths. Fast forward a number of years again through vision boarding and wanting to own my own business and having these really big ideas. Went through a lot of difficult work transitions that I was never satisfied. And once I did okay and I was comfortable, I was uncomfortable because I wasn't happy. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And so I came to a place where I realized what I wanted to do was actually in business. And I love music as well, but I wanted to do something in business. I wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And I had a friend who invited me to a seminar in Florida, a joint venture seminar, where I first heard my mentor talk about copywriting as a business, and talk about how he shared his faith. First of all, he says, I want to share, first of all, that before I talk about copy, my actual business, I believe in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He saved me, and he has redeemed my life. And that really resonated with me, how from a business platform, this man shared his faith so openly. And then he masterfully went into talking about his craft, about how he writes and how he helps businesses, how he himself is doing well, and how he helps others do well through having a message that communicates to his audience. And so I had the opportunity to have lunch with him and my friend who invited me that weekend. And I realized there's something about this marketing thing for business that really makes a whole lot of sense for me. And so there was a journey from that point, figuring that out. I ended up going from there, going back to school. I completed an undergrad in business at that point in time, 5 years to complete a 4-year program, which is really not that uncommon, but trying to work at the same time and figure that out. And then realizing, as I listened to many of my profs who were getting their income from being a teacher rather than from business, most of them, and realizing this isn't it for me either. I want to go back to the entrepreneurial game. And one of my favorite classes in my undergrad was entrepreneurial new ventures, right? And so really love that class, and thinking about, okay, what does it mean to not only take the class, but do the thing? And so I went back and reconnected with this friend who shared this world with me, and I had the opportunity to do some work with him, got into some copy, traveled a lot, invested a lot in coaching, self-development, business development, and a whole lot of vision boards. Even the last class in my undergrad, which would have been one of my other favorite classes, was salesmanship. And one of the things that we had to do in that class, among reading things like Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy, Do the Hard Things First, but one of the things that we would do was a vision board, and really setting up. I'm like, okay, this is something that resonates with me. If you see my wall behind my desk, there's stuff all over my wall. I'm also very visual, all about writing the goals, having pictures of the goals. So this is something that has followed me through this whole path. But that stepped off the case where it's like, okay, when I leave this undergrad, I want to step into not just the job, but going into entrepreneurship. Because after school, I stayed in my retail job that carried me through school for some time. I was very depressed, very unhappy. It was pretty toxic environment as well. But getting out of that and going into the opportunity to say, okay, now I'm going to pursue what it looks like to be a copywriter. What does it look like to write for someone and to be a support to someone else's business? And there was a journey from there, really from, working with that friend for some time until the point where our paths would take different routes. And then I was on my own and figuring out, okay, now I get to get clients on my own. This is no longer comfortable. The safety net is gone. What does it mean to connect with people, to serve people in a way that helps them catapult their business? And from there, I did copywriting long before I was certified as a copywriter. And I connected again with my mentor, took his courses, but eventually I had the opportunity to get certified. And that's one of the things on my vision board, to be a copywriter. I did it. So now I've gone beyond copywriting to actually marketing coaching, communication coaching, helping people get their message. So you do your message and I help you walk through that rather than doing it all for you. So it's been quite the journey. And a lot of it is it's mindset. We talked about this today. Things are created twice. I'd almost argue three times. Now that I think about it, God creates an idea, then the idea is in our head, so that it starts as that idea. So this would be the first that we talked about today. Starts as an idea, and then when you see something in the real world, a business, a building, a product, a service, this all starts as someone's an idea before you see it. Even this platform was an idea before you saw it. Restream was an idea before it was created. Facebook was an idea before it was created. Always starts somewhere in the mind. And so I would believe that it's, really generated by God and by his purposes for us. And we find ourselves in the place, do we interact with that idea? And then do we take feet to that idea and bring it to the real world? So there's been this real process through this whole thing as a faith journey, finding what is my purpose? Am I fulfilling that purpose? And who am I impacting along the way? And definitely vision and where it begins in the mind is huge.
Okay, and it was amazing because you were like, okay, you had the whole picture, like, and the way that you presented. What I want to ask you is maybe a couple of times where you had to focus on your mindset, or something that started to affect you exactly to start to, like, okay, I know that you believe in God, but at the end, if you are not believing in yourself, that is affecting you, and you are like, okay, yeah, I believe you, God, but I don't know if this is going to work, and all these things that start to happen in your life, in your personal life first, and from there we can go to your business. And why is that? Because at the end, when we are talking about the belief system, is not only, okay, you have, okay, I believe in God, but you have to really create that belief that it's really hard and it's very good, and then you are going to the next, when you are experiencing situations or challenges in your business, is like, no, I have this belief because it works and it's working all the time. So how was that, or some of the ideas that you can bring to the table here?
Yeah, so I think, you know, when I was in my sales career, say for instance, I was no longer happy with it. And it's interesting what happens when you're not happy with something and you want to leave a job or leave a client. Sometimes things will happen outside of your control that it's not really, you feel like it's not you doing it, but there's this interaction and intention. And I think there's a whole lot of power when it comes to intention. But so things went downhill with my career, and I was really unhappy even more with that. And then during that time, I was also thinking about, I'd really like to go back to school and I'd like to get a business degree. And because this was long after I heard this voice say, I'm calling you to business, and I felt like I'd really like to know more about it. I'm not getting the sales training that I really want in my career. All these kind of things. I felt like I want some kind of credentials. Where can I go for this? And then things started to tank. I'm like, where's this coming from? And then I had the opportunity through this. Things almost hit, I would say, rock bottom, when I was given the opportunity to, meet with a friend and to be exposed to this world. But still, things hadn't blown up for me. It was really just an exposure. And I was really in a place of, as a good friend of mine, John Ramstead says, smoldering discontent. I was very unhappy with my life. And I had some friends say to me, well, why not come back to school? Like, it was late August at this point, and say, you've been exposed to all this stuff, but what about a degree? We know it's something that you want to pursue. And so I thought, hey, that's really interesting. So this was a thought in my mind years previous, and even the school I went to, I thought, hey, it'd be really cool when I heard about their business program. Hey, I'd like to go and do the business program there. And next thing I know, obviously it wasn't overnight, but I found myself writing an entrance exam at the school and being accepted, and entering into a bachelor's degree for business. And so that was that. I mean, there were some ups and downs through that whole time, but that was a very challenging time to complete a degree and, go back to school as a mature student, quote unquote mature. Sometimes I still feel like, the kid I like to have fun, but that's some of the struggle and the mindset that it took just to complete that and then come through on the other side where I have my friends who are actually in the chapel or the auditorium where the graduation happened, and they were screaming for me. Nobody else got that kind of response. My friends are a little bit crazy, and I love them for it. But just this kind of response, a celebration that comes after putting your mind to something, and it came down to the belief wasn't just in myself. There was many times there's belief I can do this, but the faith piece that this is what I'm called to right now. This is what I believe is a part of my purpose, and it's a key milestone towards being a business leader. And so, if I'm going to get there, this is something that I need to do, and completing that. So, I'd say that that's one of the milestones for me personally that fed in with both personal goals, getting my bachelor's degree, as well as business goals, because I felt like there's a lot of stuff here I wasn't exposed to before, ideas in accounting, which I'd say I'm pretty terrible at, and finance, but the things that I love, like marketing and entrepreneurship and that kind of thing. So definitely part of the journey.
And that's great. So let's go back to Shanae now. Shanae, I know that you have been working a lot with customers for years, as you shared before, and you have been always in the background as part like, okay, I'm going to help these guys to go to the next level. So I don't want you to brag, but I want you to say the truth about what happened with the customers that are working with you in this part of lead generation and creating all the things that you are doing, and tell us, okay, this is okay, not the name of the customer, but what are the things that you have seen in the people that you are working with.
Yeah, I can do that. So, just to give you an example, some of my customers, obviously, when COVID hit, it was really hard for everyone, especially with the hard lockdowns and then the various levels of lockdowns. And I have the one customer I have work in the solar industry, and they started out really small, really humble, and just before everything hit, we started doing marketing for them. And slowly and steady during the year, it was the only marketing they ever did was the marketing that we did for them, and we helped them to go from a really small warehouse to a bigger one to another bigger one in 1 year. And in 1 year, with all the leads that we've generated, like literally thousands of leads um, that they closed, were able to 10x their business. And it was just so liberating to see how they grow and how we work together in this journey. And it was just, I really feel so humbled and happy to be able to provide people with results such as those. Just to give you another example, we did work for another company, and we launched a funnel. A funnel is like a landing page on your website where you give people something in exchange for their email address. So we were running a competition for these people, and they so you could have entered into the competition to win something. Okay. And that after we launched the ad campaigns with the funnels at about 11 a.m. in the morning, by 4 p.m. that afternoon, they had already made 280,000 Rand. Not dollars, but rands, which is huge because normally it takes like 2 weeks or so to make that. So yeah, it was just really, it was so exciting when we started getting those results, and it was just wow. The previous company that I told you about just now, we literally generated about $600,000 I think it was, in a space of sometimes a week. So, and I know that they have those kind of days as well, and it's just so exciting to see how businesses prosper and how they can survive to help other people. So, those are the kind of results that we are getting for our customers. And it's really a passion of us to help other people in their businesses to not only survive, but to thrive.
And that's exactly why I made this question, because the idea is to give the people that is listening to this, there is a lot of possibilities. Sometimes you can be like, okay, I am stagnant and I don't know how to grow in my business, or I have to close my business because something is happening. So, but at the end,
Mhm.
maybe it's because you don't have the right strategies or the right people with you. So there is a lot of possibilities behind, and that's exactly what we want to be talking here. It's and the idea of believing yourself and believing your business is create the belief system that is going to support you, and that belief system can be even having a team like like us and helping you to grow in your business. So this is amazing, Shanae. And tell me, CJ, from your side, what have you seen with the people that you have been working with?
Oh, very much like Shanae, I enjoyed hiding behind the scenes. Although I had some big ideas, and I know that we're stepping into some of those ideas now because we stepped out from the shadows. But just really being behind other projects and launches that can be pretty exciting. I've got to be part of a copywriting team. I really can't say too much about who they are. We need to ask for that anyways. But just seeing like 6 and 7 figure launches, as this is pretty much the staple, in the industry, and just being part of a team that I get to write for that, and I get to see that and see some of the results and some of the dynamics between the team behind the scenes, and seeing what shows up, even what we're doing here, what we're sharing here, seeing all the work that goes into that in the background. Because as we've seen in our challenge the past couple of days, there's a whole lot of work that goes into preparing for this, right? So being part of teams that do this kind of thing and do it very, very successfully. So going from that as part of a team to doing it solo, and doing it for a client, and achieving 6 figures in less than a month, and being like, mind blown, like, wow, this can actually happen. And,
Yeah.
and even despite that, saying, no, no, I'm still going to do it for other people. I'm going to, work at helping other people, and rather than doing it for ourselves. And there just came a point where it's like, okay, it just makes sense, especially with our discussion. It's like, let's team up and see what we can create, and step out of the shadows, and be the voice, be the face, and say, who can we help, and how can we do that at scale? But definitely, it's really cool still to be behind the scenes of what I've seen, and see some of those projects and how successful they are. Because what that built in, we talk about believe in yourself and believe in your business. I saw a place where I could believe in business, and I could believe in the possibility of what could happen, and being part of it, I could believe in my own part in that process, and say, okay, this is something I can do. This is something we can do. And again, the purpose is like, how can we do this kingdom wise? So yeah.
Yeah, and just to be clear, because we have people from everywhere in the world. So when CJ is talking about 6 or 7 figures, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. So that's what he's talking about. Even in 1 month, creating that. So that's part of the possibilities, and really that's why you need to be like. For me, for example, what changed a lot the game is when I started to see like, okay, what is coaching and what is business coaching and how that can help my life, and start to coach me in the thing that I need to be doing. And I am not alone in taking all the decisions that I have to take. I have to do all the, as an entrepreneur, it's always like, okay, you have to guess if this is going to work today or not, or I have to guess if this investment that I have to do is going to be going well or not. So at the end, having a business coach or a business strategist helps you a lot to understand how to make those steps without risk or with less risk. because you know exactly what is the possibilities and what is the thing that you are going to have after you finish that part. So that's amazing. And the thing that I want to share with everyone today, because I wanted to bring Shanae and CJ today with us, because this is we created a partnership. I believe like 2 months ago. We have been working before that alone, and that's exactly what we share here today. What are the things and the possibilities that we started to see as entrepreneurs ourselves. But 2 months ago, more or less, we decided, okay, we are going to do something that the three of us can create together, and we can start to see how that change and how everything changes. So, Shanae, from your point of view, what are the things and the challenges and even the beliefs that are changing right now that you started this partnership? Because I know that you were in the shadows and you were pushing and helping others, and that was something that at the end helped a lot. And I know that that's part of our heart after creating this partnership. But I want you to tell us about the even the challenges that you are going through and that you have been conquering the last 2 months.
Yeah, so before we all came together, as Alejandro said, that we were all working apart and doing your thing, and sometimes it's really hard. And since we came together, I have experienced that not all of the pressure is on me to perform 100% all of the time. I'm not saying that I'm not delivering the results. I'm talking about like business admin, showing up, etc. So if you are in a team and your team has your back and is your safety net, it makes doing business so much better. If
Mhm.
you have a hand that guides you, it's like a board of directors that tells you, okay, in this area you need to do this. In your marketing, you need to do this. In your finances, you need to do this. To grow your business, you need to do X, Y, Z. And I wish I had this when I started my business. It would have helped me to propel my business and grow it so much faster. And I mean that is exactly what this partnership means for me, because there are so many valuable assets that both of you bring into my life and into my business, and I just feel like everyone needs all these valuable assets because I mean I feel like for the past 8 years I have and I know CJ and Alejandro, you both feel like this as well. We feel like we have been the best kept secret because all of us have have achieved so much alone. There's not always somebody support. Your family doesn't understand what you're going through. Your friends doesn't really understand because they're not entrepreneurs. They have a day job, and the struggles that we go through as entrepreneurs are always it's hard and you don't always have someone to talk to. You can moan somewhere and someone will say no actually that's okay, but you don't have someone to tell you okay no you need to do this to get out of that hole. So for me it really has meant a lot, because I have received words of wisdom, words of knowledge, words of love, words of affirmation, and it really helped me to grow as a person
Mm.
as well as in my business. So that is what this is meaning has meant to
Awesome.
me.
And CJ, the same question for you. What is
Well, it's really interesting because I think there's what is now, but also what preceded this. So we talk about what we've done in our business and the things that we've achieved solo, but we also come as like now we're a business. We offer consulting, coaching, mastermind, this kind of thing. But we also not only invested, but we are currently investing in ourselves, right? So if we think about the cumulative, even what we shared today earlier in our challenge, we've spent between the three of us multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars Okay, I want you to catch this if you're listening. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in our own development. So myself, just thinking, over the last 3 years, how much has been spent makes my undergrad expense look like, I was out buying candy. It's ridiculous, right? So the real investment, though, was really post grad for me, investing in coaches, investing mindset coach, relationship coach, spiritual coaching, mastermind, you know, um, all of these things is just so important, and multiple masterminds. In fact, I'm in multiple masterminds right now, one that I was part of creating and another where, we met together in this mastermind with, my mentor, with our mentor. And it's really amazing when you think about, what brings us to this point. What is the experience? What is the cumulative knowledge? And, what are the assets that we bring to the table? And it's, hey, we've invested in ourselves. It's all the books. It's like, how many books have you read last year? I feel like my number's too small. I read 26 books last year, and that's not including reading all of the New Testament and many Old Testament books on top of that. It's like, what is the reading? What are the courses you take? How are you growing experientially? And I think that's what's led up to us coming together. And I think some of the search through all that was like looking for, what is that purpose? What is my place? Even with my skill set, I know words are kind of my thing, and communication is something I'm very passionate about. I just think even in learning public speaking, 30 plus $1,000, just to learn how to talk. It's not that I don't know how to talk, but it's investing in saying, I want to get better at this. So
Mm.
where's the investment? So it's all of those things coming together. And Shanae, you touched on a very important thing, is the loneliness of the entrepreneurial journey. When you're going it alone, and especially when you're a solopreneur, you're not working within a team or working within a company, you have to get yourself up in the morning. You have to be able to make those calls, and you have to believe that, hey, someone will believe in me, that I can serve them and that I can help them with XYZ problem, whatever that is. For me, it was messaging, right? I can help you with creating a message and connecting with people. So there comes a point where it's like, I have to believe that I can do that. So some of the processes, the degree and certifications, and learning to speak and learning to write better, working on a book project with other entrepreneurs, and then, even writing poetry. I'm going to be launching a poetry book soon. It should have been done a while ago. So things like this, it's like, but it's lonely, right? Leading up, and then getting together where we met on our mastermind, and then having the conversations around, okay, we have a skill set that we can develop something and really serve the world in a bigger way and show up. And that's what we're doing. And I resonate, Shanae, with what you're saying. The loneliness piece, it's not as prevalent when we can have discussions around, what are we doing? Not what am I doing, but what are we doing and how are we showing up? And I find the
Yeah.
same encouragement. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that we did together. Even one thing that we were telling at the beginning, writing about the thing that you want to do in your life, and writing about what you want in the future. And we started to do that for the past, for example, and what was the things that we have done, and how many years of experience do we have, how many courses we have done, how many master degrees we have, how many certifications we have. And suddenly, when we started to realize all the knowledge and all the information that the three of us have to help businesses, it's crazy. And how much we invested in ourselves, it's crazy. So the idea really here is to help people, and really this program is going to be inviting guests that is going to be showing you how that belief system really helps you to go to the next level in your business, how that can help you to continue growing. You saw how Shanae and CJ share what are the things that they really needed to do in order to start to believe in themselves. And okay, I believe in God, but he's not. I don't see him right now. I need to work in my mind right now to continue this path. Or I am in my business and I don't have any money right now, and I need to start to pay attention to the customers that I need. So all those things are really key, and really one thing that we I believe you saw. That's why I wanted to bring you here, Shanae and CJ today, especially to share to everyone what is our heart, and why we are helping people, and why we are so passionate about this, and how to help others, and how that belief system can really change your game and move your business to the next level. And what is the possibilities? Do you want to go further faster? How faster you want to go, and how further you want to go? Do you want to do it alone? It's going to be a little bit more difficult. So this is exactly what we are creating here. We are happy to have you here with us. Any final thoughts or comments that you want to share, Shani?
No, I mean, I just want to help more entrepreneurs. I want us to help more entrepreneurs and just for them to make a success in life and in their business.
And you, CJ?
Yeah, a question that I've been thinking about a lot lately is what is possible? What is possible? So I spoke about this again earlier today, but for our listeners here now, is when we talk about what is Christ talks about in Scripture is two things: nothing is impossible with God, and all things are possible with God. Meaning, from both ends of the spectrum, everything is possible. So, what does that mean to you? What is possible? And behind that question, next would be what makes that possible? So, is it partnership? Of course, it begins with faith, but is it partnership? How do you take what's in your mind and how do you connect that with other people? And how do you bring that into the real world? And the next thing following that is all we have is now. We're not promised tomorrow. And once now is gone, that now is no longer now because now we have now. So all we have is each present moment, and we're not promised the next one. So what are we doing with what we have, and what is possible with what we have?
Okay, so this is the end of the show. I am really happy that we are creating this plan together, that we are together. We are going to be interviewing more business owners here with us. And the idea is really to grow together, and really thank you for connecting with us. This show can be heard on the Radio Network. Please check out the SpanglishWorld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, leave it. So thank you very much, Shanae. Thank you, CJ, for this. We're going to see next Tuesday at this same time for Eastern time. And thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure to be with you, and pleasure to be connecting with everyone today. Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.